Nobody's flipped me off yet, so that's good. So as it turns out, I didn't plan this very well. I didn't realize how long it would take to run the charge down, but we're at 16.8 miles and with 35 miles of indicated range to go. And I gotta pee. So I guess I'm just gonna have to hold it. Good times. Okay, so that police officer, shouldn't call him a cop, he was behind me tailing me, and then he eventually turned back around, but he ran my plate and he saw where I lived and he figured I was going home, so he followed me home, and then we just had a nice chat. It was kind of funny. Like he saw I had a Volt. He kind of thought that was what I was doing, but apparently like some old lady or two people like called me in, which I'm not surprised by, considering I grew up in the country and people are very suspicious of weird things like me, like going around in circles at 30 miles an hour. So I told him what I was doing. He's like, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Started chatting. Didn't get in trouble. I wasn't doing anything illegal. He said if I was going like 15, he probably would have pulled me over, but 25, 30, which is how fast I was going, not a big deal. So So today I thought it would be fun, because I've never done this before, to do a range test in my 2013 Chevy Volt. So what do I mean by that? I mean, how far can I go on one charge if I set the cruise at 30 miles per hour? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get in the car, take my son with me, and we're gonna go on a nice slow drive and see how many miles my 2013 Chevy Volt that has over 75,000 miles will be able to go. As you can see right now, it's plugged in. That little beeping light right there, blinking light, tells me it's fully charged. That little blinking light right there, bloop. The car is plugged in. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on, brake, power. Car fires up. Get that little signal sign right there. It says charge cord is connected. And it's indicating that I have 40 miles of range. Now I'm gonna take a guess and say that with it being a little chilly outside, I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be able to go 60 miles on the charge if I set the cruise at 30 and accelerate and decelerate extremely carefully. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm gonna let the car sit for, I don't know, about 5 minutes, and that might help the electronics and battery warm up a little bit to get a little bit more efficiency. And then I'm gonna get my son in the car, and then we're gonna go for a little drive. All right, car's unplugged. The boy is, hey Jack, he's in the back there ready to go. Let's kick it. Okay, here's my energy display, if you want to call it that, for the full charge. Well, here we are, cruising at a wonderful 30 miles per hour. This is very fun. So far we've gone 1.8 miles, and my indicated range has dropped by 1 mile. So that's a good sign. So this is my first time doing like a, I guess you'd call it a video blog. Whatever, I don't know. I think it's kind of dumb actually. But so yeah, again, it's indicating 64 degrees outside. I'm cruising got the cruise set at 30 miles per hour. I'm in low. And if anyone who drives a Volt or a Bolt knows, Chevys, you can have it either in D for drive or low, and what low does is essentially every time it allows for one pedal driving, so every time you let off the gas or the accelerator, whatever you want to call it, the regen kicks in automatically, so it allows for one pedal driving. If you're in D, got a stop sign coming up here. If you're in D, it's just like a normal car. You let off the accelerator and it just kind of coasts like you would if you were in overdrive. So coming to a stop, not even gonna use the brake at all. I look right, we're good. Slow acceleration. Trying to keep it under 10 kilowatt hours as I accelerate. And there's gonna be somebody behind me and they're going to get pissed. This is fun. It's a Tuesday and no, I'm not unemployed. Just happened to have the day off and thought this would be a fun thing to do, plus get my wife a break from my son. So I wonder if anybody will like go up the side of me and like, hey, are you okay? But country roads, it's 9:23, so we should be good as far as, yep, he's going around good. Alright, so we're about 2.8 miles and the range is still dropped by 1 so far. Alright, so update, 3.8 miles and the range has not dropped anymore. It's still at 39 miles, so this might be a very long trip. Yeah, good time. So if you drive an EV, you know that the range is very, that's my son, that the range is very sensitive to temperature. So in the summer when it's warm, like in the 80s, whatever, and I drive my daily commute, which is about 20-25 miles round trip. When I recharge in the morning and plug in and take off in the morning, my indicator range in the summer is normally around 47, 48. But since it's gotten cooler, my range has been around dog on the road there, a live dog. My range has been around 40, 31, 30. So yeah, so temperature plays a huge part in EVs, which is why I say if you live in an environment where multitasking. I have to use the brake a little bit here. This guy's gonna follow me. Oh, good. If you live in an environment where it's rarely gets above freezing, an EV may not be the best thing for you. Apologize for the background noise. I should probably have my windows up while I'm recording, but I like the air. So yeah, like, and it affects the efficiency of a gasoline-powered vehicle as well. It's more pronounced in an EV. It's even more pronounced in my in our Prius. When it's warm, you know, we'll get 50 plus miles to the gallon, but when it's, you know, freezing or around freezing, it'll drop to like 40 to 45, just because the engine has to warm things up more. All right, we're at 4.8 and still indicating 39 miles of range. Update, gone 7.1 miles and now indicating 38 miles of range. So doing pretty well. Haven't pissed anybody off. So kind of get on a little rant here, tangent, I guess. So I've had this my Volt for 3 years and 4 months, something like that. Put about 50,000. Less than 50,000 miles on it, and it's my second EV. Well, it's the first EV I bought, this, and then I bought my Zero motorcycle. But the thing with EVs is I have a hard time talking to people about them now, because to me it's such a no-brainer, and I'm just so used to it that it's just the norm for me. Like, I can't imagine driving anything else. It's just common sense. Especially if you have a garage. this is my biggest thing. If you have a garage, whether you rent or own, you have a garage where you can plug in, and if you own your home, or you can install a level 2, you know, 240 volt, 30 amp circuit, there's really no excuse to not drive an EV. There's just not. Like, you can, your other car be a gas car, that's fine if you're concerned about road trips, but for your daily commutes, you don't have an EV, you're throwing money in the garbage. That's all you're doing. So to me, like, for the last once I got out of college, I've had a garage, and even when I had an apartment, I used this car, and I just ran an outlet or an extension cord from. Thank you. I just ran an extension cord from my porch to the parking lot. I got permission, no big deal. And that drew some questions, which I like questions, but just so many people still don't get it. They don't get it. But to me, EVs are just, it's the norm. Again, especially if you have an outlet at home in your garage, you just plug it in before you go to bed, and you unplug it in the morning, and you always have a full tank of fuel, essentially. And the fuel costs you like 50 cents to $1 per gallon equivalent in cost. And you don't have to worry about fuel prices, you don't have to worry about, if you're in the military, like going to war so that people can have their $2.50 a gallon gasoline. It's just weird to me, because people ask me about my car, and I'm like, yeah, you just plug it in and unplug it in the morning, and I drive on electricity for 95% of my driving. Update. Sorry, I keep looking at the screen. 12.8 miles we've gone so far. We've used 2 kilowatt hours of electricity, and indicating 37 miles of range left. So this is going to be a longer trip than I expected. I think I've managed to piss 2 people off so far, because, and I'm not saying do this, but when I'm going 30 miles per hour and the speed limit's 55, even if there's a double line and you can see well ahead enough to pass, and I wave you around, just go around. Because at that point I'm just like, alright, if you want to sit behind me, that's fine. Do what you want. Whatever. So people have, you know, I tell them I have a Volt and I have a, you know, my Zero, it's all electric. They're like, what's that? I tell them about it, like, oh, you know, look at their website. And they're like, well, why don't you have a Tesla? And I'm like, well, because the base Model 3 starts out at 38,000, 39,000, somewhere around there. And let's say I got that base model, nothing else. You know, you buy something brand new, you're gonna pay out the yin yang and fees and taxes, state taxes, and yeah, you still get, I think it's $1,875 federal tax credit for buying an EV, but add about $5,000 for that, for insurance and plate, registration, fees. So you're looking at like $45,000 for a brand new Model 3, and I have no debt. I have no debt. I have a lot of money saved, and I have no intent on using money that I've saved for a nice big fat down payment on a house for an electric car just to be cool. Like, I spent my money. I spent my $17,000 on my toy. That's my Zero SR. Both my other cars are paid off, and the motorcycle was paid off too. So that's why. I think if I was gonna buy a Tesla, I would buy a used Model S or Model X. I would not buy a Model 3, a brand new Model 3, just because buying brand new cars is stupid. But there's a lot. There's some decent used Model S's on Tesla's website for, you know, under $40,000. And if really one of my goals is to be able to afford a brand new Model X, because I like the SUV. You can tow with it. There's more room, more seating, and you get free unlimited supercharging. That's a big thing for me. All right, so about the halfway point here, I've driven 30.3 miles, 30.4, and still have 27 miles of indicated range. Let's see if the old Volt will get to 60 miles on the charge. So, my opinion, if you have a garage and you don't have at least one EV or one plug-in hybrid electric, which I consider an EV, you're a fool. You're an idiot, and you're throwing money in the garbage can. If you just have to have your Jeep or your SUV or your truck for no good fucking reason, then hope you don't have kids, because you're throwing money away, or a wife. You're throwing money away. It's kind of stupid. Update, driven 40.7 miles, 40.8 actually, 40.8 miles, and we have 19 miles of indicated range left. So I think we're gonna hit 60 on a charge. It's now 71 degrees outside, so good temperature. Tire pressure is 40 PSI around the board. That's good. I think I've managed to piss a few people off. Somebody in a truck with loud exhaust, like revved it as they went by me. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. I got my blinkers on. You could have passed me without doing that, but whatever. So what pisses me off is when people don't go around me when they have the chance. And yeah, it's like, just go around me. There's not double lines. Just go around. Or not, whatever. Stupid. So one of the YouTubers I really agree with and I really like to watch a lot of the time is a channel called Tech Forum. It's with a guy named Matt Shoemaker, and his thing is talking about EVs and his Model 3, his Tesla Model 3 that he owns, obviously. And for a guy like him, he's not like an EV like nutball. He's very like moderate. He just understands the benefits of it. And for his job, he apparently drives like a ton of miles, like every day. Like I think he drives like 150 miles a day, something like that. And for somebody like that, an EV really makes the most sense. So, you know, this guy, there's double lines. Thank you, appreciate it. If you're driving a ton of miles every day and you own your own home, having an EV makes sense, because you are saving, I don't know, you're saving $10, $20, $30, $40 a day in fuel costs by driving an EV. Now if your commute's as long as mine is, or as short as mine is, it makes sense. A Volt makes sense for you. But if you have, like, if you drive 100 miles a day, a Volt doesn't really make the most sense, because you're driving so many more miles. You're driving outside of the EV range of the vehicle. So you're gonna be using a lot of fuel. In that case, like a Prius, you know, or something that gets like 50 mpg makes the most sense for you. And what's kind of cool about that channel is, obviously a Tesla is very expensive, but on Tech Forum, he's making money. His Tesla's actually making money for him because of the videos he makes and because of the revenue he makes on YouTube. from those videos. So, you know, in that case, his Tesla was a very smart buy, but that's only if you're able to do that with the YouTube channel. Like, so why don't I have a Tesla? Well, it's pretty simple. They're too expensive. They're a lot of money. I bought this 2013 Volt in 2016, so the car was 3 years old. It had like 26,000 miles. It's a premium trim. It's got all the bells and whistles. I don't think there's anything missing. This car, brand new, I think was over 40. I bought it 3 years old with 26,000 miles for $16,000, like all said and done, like after dealer fees, taxes. So I got this car, pretty much a brand new car, for less than half the cost. I mean, like, I think it was a leased vehicle, so I mean, depreciation, that's why you don't buy a brand new car. But like, so why don't I buy a Tesla? I could afford one. I could afford a Model S or X, honestly. Like, I could afford $1,000 a month car payment. Why don't I? Because I like saving money. And and all things being equal, if like right now, me and my wife, like, we owned our home and we were gonna stay where we are, and I was making the same amount of money, I would think about it. I would think about it, because, but right now there's so many unknowns in our life. I'm getting out of the military in 7 months, 6-7 months, and we don't know where we're gonna live. We don't know what our income's gonna be. I'm saving up money for a down payment, and we have no debt. So this car's paid off. My other cars, I paid cash for. I paid cash for a motorcycle. We have zero debt. I think my wife probably has like $50 on her credit card that she pays off. So that is why I don't have a Tesla, as much as I would want one. And again, I don't need one. I don't need one. All right, hey, we did it. 60.4 miles, 60.4 miles on one charge in my 2013 Chevy Volt. And funny story, because I was doing laps, about a 5-mile loop, a cop was following me. So I don't know if I got called in or something. You know, I'm out in the country here, people are suspicious. So he followed me. I went by him. I saw him, he pulled it out behind me. I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna pull me over. He didn't pull me over. I think he just kind of wanted to, like, know that I was being watched and kind of chase me out. So luckily, I had just ran out of charge, the engine kicked on, and I was able to turn left, and I'm headed home right now. So, and then the cop turned around, so I didn't get pulled over, which I'm very happy about. But it would have been like one of those things, like, he would ask me what I'm doing, I'm like, I would have told him, and then, you know, if he was kind of cool, he probably would have, you know, been like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of neat, or whatever, I don't know. But I wasn't doing anything illegal, just suspicious. So yeah, I'm about to get home, and then I'll do a little update on my data here. Okay, so that police officer, shouldn't call him a cop, he was behind me, tailing me, and then he eventually turned back around, but he ran my plate, and he saw where I lived, and he figured I was going home, so he followed me home, and then we just had a nice chat. It was kind of funny. Like, he saw I had a Volt. He kind of thought that was what I was doing, but apparently, like, some old lady or two people, like, called me in, which I'm not surprised by, considering I grew up in the country and people are very suspicious of weird things like me, like going around in circles at 30 miles an hour. So I told him what I was doing. He's like, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Started chatting. Didn't get in trouble. I wasn't doing anything illegal. He said if I was going like 15, he probably would have pulled me over, but 25, 30, which is how fast I was going, not a big deal. So, okay, so done. 60.4 miles. The janitor kicked on, and then I went 2.8 miles home, pretty much. Used 8.7 kilowatt hours and 0.07 of a gallon of gas. So this is, anybody who drives a Volt kind of think this is curious. Normally, so the battery capacity is about, I think, 16.5 kilowatt hours, but the Volt only lets you use 10.9 kilowatt hours worth. And I don't know if it's because me going slow kind of confused the computer, but it says I only use 8.7 kilowatt hours when I should have been able to go to 10.9. But I still got 60.4 miles on the charge, which is just kind of curious. So what I'm gonna do is charge the car up all the way and see what the rated mileage is on the charge, now that the computer's all fucked up essentially. Because when I started this run, it indicated 40 miles of range, but I got 60 because of how I was driving. So just this, looking over on this side, obviously my charge is done. I have 168 miles worth of fuel, roughly. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Glad I didn't get pulled over though. Okay, so after a full charge and my range test, the range jumped up to 47 miles. And it's 8:55 p.m. and I've drinking my share of Canadian Mist, and I'm going to go to bed. So good night.